Hello and welcome to the Retro Rant podcast, the show where we dust off gaming's past and blow into the cartridge of knowledge. I'm Matt, and joining me is Harry.
Hi, I'm Harry.
This is a pilot episode, so we've spoke about this for a while, haven't we? So
A while is probably a bit of a underselling there. Like we probably at least for a year, I'd say, surely.
Yeah.
By this point, at least a year.
Shout out to Where's the Save Point, who's been like absolutely pestering us for this podcast for
every comment, every snippet he gets a chance. He was like, at one point he offered to drive us together to a pub to record it. So
pretty much, which I would have taken, to be honest. If he paid for the drinks, I would have taken it. And this has come from, like, we had that podcast before, didn't we? Which is your podcast, which you basically did before.
Short-lived.
But it was good. I mean, we covered some good stuff. We covered Red Dead Redemption 2, which makes
we did.
Yeah, which
makes it
worthwhile. So you kind of came up with the idea for this episode, which is, as we're recording this, is actually the 20th anniversary of the Xbox 360 in North America. It was released today.
Oh, look at that. That's good. That's planning for you. Don't just throw this together.
Fate drew this together as such.
I can't remember why this came about. I know you've done a few different posts, but was it just I kept berating you that the 360 was better than PS3?
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was
basically.
I'm a bit of a ball bag when it comes to stuff I write on Instagram about gaming. I've upset like everyone about Final Fantasy, and I've probably upset a few people about the Xbox 360. But the Xbox 360, as someone who's into gaming history and into tech and stuff, the Xbox 360 had a lot of flaws. But that's not to say the
How dare you?
But that's not to say the PS3 didn't either. It's kind of like as much as we'll go through it in a bit in the podcast, but as much as they are innovative, they were still problem children. So it's still.
I think it's still to me it was still the best gaming generation we've had in terms of how things went. But yeah, there was no doubt there was issues.
So let's break it down. So we're going to talk about the consoles, where they stack up on the cool boards, kind of like a tribute to those three middle-aged men with what we grew up with.
Is there any way on the cool board that anything gets above a Dreamcast, though? Is the Dreamcast like eternally at the top?
Well, I'd like to say this is a democracy, but so I don't think anything gets below an Atari Jaguar. I don't think anything gets above a Dreamcast.
A Dreamcast. That's like a high and low. Like there's your borderlines. That's what we're going for.
That's what we'll call it. We'll call it Atari Jaguar at the bottom, Dreamcast at the top. And then we're going to just cover a little bit, 5 minutes, just into news and events in gaming. So let's start. Picture yourself as a teenager, mid-2000s. I had a little white thing in my pants. Yes, that's right, an iPod. Pluto was also been shamed for its size. Matt Lucas and David Williams were blackfacing. Great show, by the way. Which was a style at that. Dominic Mysterio's paternity was being determined by a ladder match. So the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox were the three left standing in the 6th generation. The Dreamcast, unfortunately, had been thrown to the wayside.
Which ones of them did you have?
So
Generation 6.
I had them all.
Yeah, so did I.
I think quite a few people.
No, that's a lie. I didn't have a Dreamcast. That's a lie.
Right. Okay.
So my brother had a PS2. I got a GameCube first, and then my friend got an Xbox, and then I basically chopped in my GameCube when I got an Xbox. So I never played a GameCube again. I said my Xbox.
So I got a GameCube on my 13th birthday just because I was so impatient to save any more money for a PS2. So I went into game. I bought a GameCube. I spent that much money on the GameCube, but it made no sense when you think about it now as an adult. Because I bought the Game Boy player, I bought Wind Waker, I bought Metroid Prime, and then it came to Christmas, and I saw the Crystal Xbox, and I was like, I must have that.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Wait,
literally the same.
Yeah, and then I got a PS2 because I was working as a teenager, so I managed to put a bit of money together for PS2. So I had all three. But we also had in our bedroom like 3 different CRTs just sitting there with like different stuff plugged into it. I had a NES, I had a SNES because I wasn't going to car boot and I was buying them anyway. So the Dreamcast bowed out, but they've been pushed to the limits. San Andreas, Halo, Metroid Prime, and Snow White and the 7 Clever Boys were really were really HD technology had obviously come better. As with all capitalism, the price of competitiveness brings the prices down. People were able to afford HD TVs, and analog signals were coming to life's end. Sony and Microsoft got straight to work planning 2002 and 2003 respectively.
Blows my mind a little bit just because how long generations seem to be now between generations now.
Yeah.
And being that literally year after or so that they consoles come out, they was like, right, what's next?
Yeah.
I mean, in a few years they brought it out.
And that's why it had always been in the 90s and then in the 2000s.
Yeah.
It was only when it came down to the final two entities that they were just like, nah. Xbox 360 came up with codenamed Xenon, and then PS3 came up with
just as an FYI for you there, Xenon is the name of the 360 emulator. It's called Xenon.
Oh,
just so you know that. Yeah, that's why. Yeah. I didn't actually know that until I saw that you said that. That's what his codename was. Then it made sense to me. I was like, oh, that's why the emulator is called Xenon. Not that I emulate though, because no, they wouldn't dare do that. Wouldn't dare do that.
And PS3 codename Cell. Microsoft were first to blink in 2005, and I think that was down to a little bit about Japan, to be honest. I think they were ready to move on pretty quick. And then Sony released a PS3 in the same month a year later. So let's go through the tail of the tape. So Harry, you're first.
So we should probably point out here that at this point I'm kind of Team Xbox 360 and you're more Team PS3.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's how we're kind of setting this up. That I'm the right and Matt is obviously wrong because 360 is superior.
Well, I've always liked movies, so it made sense to get a PS3 where I got a superior optical media and not necessarily about the games.
Yeah.
However,
but anyway, so let's get to that in a bit. So 360, it was released in November 2005. It offered a core model for just £209.99. And then that was the arcade version, I'm assuming. And then you had the premium model with the wireless controller, headset, and a 20 gigabyte hard drive for $280.
Could you recognize? Didn't the disc drive have a Chrome disc drive?
Chrome,
premium model,
white.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chrome, and then the white one. And plus the hard drive sat on top because the arcade one was just a flat top.
Yeah.
And the hard drive, you would click on top so you could easily see.
Yeah,
and
I get that.
It was just a DVD drive. So a lot of games, like I'll give you an example, like Final Fantasy 13 was 3 discs on the Xbox 360, but on PS3 it was 1 disc.
Yeah,
and
not like anyone played it.
Not many people did. I had it. I actually never finished.
Does it now? Well, I couldn't tell you.
No. And then to try and kind of combat what Sony did, they had a HD DVD disc drive, which they bought out in 2006 for a mere £130.
It was mad. It's like you think about it. That's like Microsoft's 32X.
I don't know anyone. All my friends had 360s, except for one had a PS3. I don't know. I really didn't know. I've never met anyone who had a HD DVD drive, which is obviously because that's why it died out and never got anywhere. But
no, I saw it in game. I think that's pretty much where I saw it. It was just like this little box. We just did it fit on the side, or I can't. It didn't.
You know, when I remember being a teenager at the time, being like, "Oh, that's like you kind of cool," and then it got to a point of I've seen him every now and again, and thinking, "Oh, should I get one just for the laugh?" And I'm like, but there's just no point. And cause I'm not a real collector. Also, I don't have any nostalgia tied to it. It's not like, I remember this from my teenage years. I didn't have it. No one had it because they were stupid. and because you could, thing is, at that point you could buy a Blu-ray. Well, actually, no, you could probably buy a few years after that. Blu-ray player was cheaper, and Blu-ray was the thing that took over, like we know.
Yeah, we do indeed.
And then it had a custom IBM 64-bit tri-core processor, which was 3.2 gigahertz, a whopping 512 megabyte of RAM shared between the CPU and its 500 megahertz GPU. And the thing is, I read that and I'm like, the magic they worked at the time to work with that to produce the games that they did.
Well, absolutely.
And I know that nowadays it's not because it's like, oh, there's a polygon's got more and the quality of the graphics get more. But you're like, that is nothing, absolute nothing compared to what we have access to nowadays. And it's hard to say 60 and PS3 games hold up to nowadays because they don't really. But for what it was, for what they had, they work magic. And the first level of Xbox 360 didn't have HDMIs. And then from 2007 onwards, they did, which I had forgotten because last year when I was buying and selling, I got one point, I think I got a 360 without a HDMI. And I'm like, what the hell is this?
We had it had like a proprietary little box in the end.
It was a component. So the first thing it did was had like a thing for a component cable. So it could do like HD, but for a component.
Yeah.
Before HDMI was the thing, it was a component cable. But my first 360 was an Elite. So straight away, I always had HDMI. It sold 84 million units worldwide and had over 2,100 released games. And then it brought out 2 extra versions. So they had the S version, which I actually bought with my first lot of adult money, and then eventually the E or the Elite, and it had an 11-year lifespan. Done well. Got
They
to use
did
that a
well
bit.
then, especially when they're talking about 5 years of the PS5, and they do want to bring out a new one now, and it hasn't innovated more than enough.
No, not at all.
But the moment you've all been waiting for, the PS3 was released in November 2006. Eye-watering £425, which, when you think about it, it's absolutely ridiculous. But when you think
That's a
about
lot
what
of
it
money.
had in it, and what it was capable of doing,
Yeah.
you kind of look back and you go, "Oh, yeah." You kind of get it. It just wasn't a great selling point when you just got it there on paper.
No. And I think you might have mentioned it before in one of your posts that Sony at this point thought we were untouchable. Like we've had the PS2. We can price what we want. You guys are going to pay it. And to be fair, like obviously they had you come to like the Blu-ray disc drive and stuff. So they had got the innovation there, but it's a lot of money.
I don't know how we were able to get it, to be honest, because it's twice the price of an Xbox 360 at the point.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing he really offered better was the Blu-ray.
None of the games and stuff, like we will come to, a lot of the games were running better on the 360. So you weren't even, other than the exclusives, you weren't getting anything for that money over the 360, other than, like I said, the Blu-ray drive.
You get the Blu-ray drive and then backwards compatibility. But then the backwards compatibility was taken out to try and bring the cost back down. So the PS2 able to read PS2 disc was gone, and then the PS1 was only done through digital emulation. And it was the most expensive console release since the Panasonic 3DO. It came with a 20 gigabyte and a 60 gigabyte model, but only the latter was in the UK. So we got the most expensive one. The controller, a Mandela effect, didn't come with a DualShock Rumble feature. Sony claims it was because it would interfere with the 6-axis, so they had like a really primitive gyro.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
But it was really due to the fact that a patent lawsuit with Sony were involved in at the time, and they wanted to avoid an injunction and bring out the console pretty early. So they added the DualShock 3 in November 2007 when the lawsuit ended, and surprisingly, you would not believe it, it did not interfere with the 6-axis.
Well, maybe they innovated. Maybe they found a way.
Or maybe they just stuck Rumble features in the bottom of the grips like they always had done, and it did nothing. As we mentioned before, it was the first console to feature Blu-ray, which allowed up to 50 gigabytes of storage on one disc. So when you
which at the time, that is a lot of storage.
Yeah.
When you think about the iPods of the time, they were probably the high-end ones. Again, to that hard drives at the time, that was a lot.
Yeah, and some games were able to be played without being installed, which is even more when you think about it now. Like every game has to be installed. It's just mega. You just put a game in like we used to in the old days that you could run.
Because I remember when the 360 started introducing, again, every time I think about the 360, the more problems I think about it has. One of the things for the 360, I said because of the overheating, they then started buying fans for the extra fans for it to stop it overheating. So I had an extra fan on mine because everyone's saying you need to get an extra fan, which meant it basically was just a jet engine taking off every time you boot it up. So then Microsoft realized this and go, okay, what we're going to do, we're going to let you install your games onto your hard drive to then play them off a hard drive, so you didn't have the stupidly loud disk drive kind of thing, and that helped. But I was just thinking about when you said the amount of data on the disc, but that kind of helped a little bit. But then I
remember GTA 4 where it came onto one disc on the PS3, but you had like 3 or 4 discs as well.
Well. Makes it seem like you get more for your money, then don't you? You're getting 4 discs.
Oh, I guess so, yeah. It was powered by a Cell 64-bit PowerPC, 3.2 gigahertz CPU, 256 megaband dedicated to the CPU, and its own video RSX synthesizer clocked at 500 megahertz, but it had its own 256 megabytes of RAM. So it had the same RAM as the Xbox 360, but it basically had a dedicated GPU, as we know now. It was the first console to introduce HDMI, and it sold 87 million units, which is about 3 million more than the Xbox 360, but they were both duped by the 101 million unit Nintendo Wii.
I want to know anyone who bet on the Wii. I want to know, because at that time the GameCube didn't do well compared to the, and then at that time you think, who would have bet on the Wii? I want to know, because no one must have. And then suddenly everyone had a Wii.
But it's people younger than us. We are in our mid-30s, Harry.
People old enough as well. My dad got one. My dad was buzzed to get one.
I went on the Wii. I played football twice a week. I was 12 stone, and it still told me I was obese. I never went on it ever again. That Wii Fit. I never played bowling. I never played the driving game. Like, the thing was a pile. You look at 25-year-olds on TikTok now who talk about it like it's a PS2.
Yeah.
They are the people who bought the Wii. We did not buy the Wii.
I've got to say, no, my closest friend Tom, he had a Wii. He had a 360, and then he bought a Wii in the end. And we played a lot of Wii bowling. But then I remember my dad, in the end, wanted to get a Wii because the guy was thinking suddenly it turned into, oh, everyone needs a Wii. And I swear, the only reason he got the Wii was he got Wii. Again, everyone got the Wii. Everyone had Wii Sports because obviously came with the Wii.
Yeah.
And then everyone got Wii Fit. And then he decided that. Then they had like running on it, and he was like, yeah, run 10K today. You didn't know that, did you? You didn't know, did you? Because you ran on the spot for half an hour. But he believed it did. But I don't mind because I got another console then.
Wait, do you remember when you got your Xbox 360?
Yeah, I do. No, I was I think I was 15 or maybe 16. I can't remember because it was a Christmas present from my parents. And I remember it being, they asked me like, oh, what do you want for Christmas? I was like, oh, I want an Xbox 360. I don't want anything else. Literally, because it was something like, oh, we were the ones where they'd buy us like loads of little bits. One main present, loads of little bits. And I was like, I don't want other than an Xbox 360. And then that's what my mum did. She bought me an Xbox 360. I think it came with, I remember Halo 3. But it might come with something else as well. But I remember Halo 3. Okay. That's the only thing. I wanted an Xbox 360. I wanted Halo 3. I was the best at Halo 2 amongst all my friends. And I was like, I want Halo 3. That's all I want. And so Christmas morning, Xbox 360, Halo 3. That's all I needed. But it was also kind of bittersweet because literally I had like 4 things to open. And around me was my whole family opening up all these presents for like an hour. And they're like, I can't even go away yet and play my Xbox 360 because we've got to be like the family thing of, oh, make sure everyone has their presents. I'm like, Halo 3's waiting for me. You know, do you understand this? So I got my Xbox S with my adult money. Once I got adult money, like 5 years later, when the S was out, I got Xbox. And that was when you got the Xbox and the Kinect, that little bundle. That's when Kinect was making Kinect a thing.
Oh yeah, Kinect. And then the PlayStation had PlayStation Move for your hair. They were terrible.
Neither of them were successes, were they? Although I say that the Kinect, we had quite a lot of fun playing Star Wars.
Okay. I mean, the only thing I had about the Kinect was it used to listen to you swear, and then you get like fined on FIFA, and that's like you're gonna swear playing FIFA. I don't want the Kinect to spy on me. Like, and that was my mate's issue. My mate Bedge probably will listen to this. I have sympathy. He brought up that thing about the Kinect where he's playing on it, and he's going, "Oh, F this, F that," and he's about to throw his controller because everyone does on FIFA. And then he's getting emails on his career mode telling him that he's getting pulled for misproper conduct to the manager. Yeah.
Oh my God. And so I can't believe that. I didn't know that. Didn't know listening, didn't you?
Yeah. So that's your story about the Xbox 360.
Yeah. So what's your PS? When did you get your PS3?
So mine was a product of divorce. Mine was, so I put money towards it, but basically we moved down to Devon and my mum and stepdad split up, and my stepdad was basically said, why don't you come and live with me? I'll buy you a PS3. As a 16-year-old, it sounds like a fair deal. It sounds like an outstanding deal. So that's what I did. So got a PS3 from HMV in town, but my gaming habits had changed. So I wasn't really playing much in terms of the games I was playing on the PS2 and the PS1. I was playing a lot more story-inclined games back then. It was more FIFA, more the odd story games. So The Last of Us, when that came, GTA. And that's pretty much the story of it. So and then I liked movies. So the Blu-ray made more sense to me than the Xbox 360. But all my mates had Xbox 360s. So I was pretty much like your mate, the only one who had a PS3.
Which in the end we bullied him enough. I say bullied, not probably bullied, but we got him enough that we all had 360s and we're like, well, we're playing Halo, Call of Duty. He couldn't play with us. To eventually he understood that, all right, I'm going to get a 360. And he literally had to get, because everyone else did, he got a 360. And then eventually we all eventually moved on to Xbox Ones.
But no, my mates played online. Like they'd bundle together in my mate's Masonaire, or they'd bundle together in my mate's living room, and we'd play FIFA. But then some of them would play Gears, and that was like my first experience of Gears. So I never really got the story aspect of Gears. I only ever saw the multiplayer version of Gears, which kind of put me off Gears.
Oh, right.
If that makes sense.
It does, but I'm surprised to put you off Gears.
Yeah, but as I got older, my habits changed. But I think we have to address it, don't we? The red ring of death.
Do we have to? I think we're running out of time, actually. So maybe we should skip this section and...
Well, you'll like the ending.
I ca- you so I can't believe it was such a thing. I can't believe it was such a thing, and it becomes so synonymous with the 360 that you cannot mention at any point a 360 without mentioning the red ring. Everyone knew a red ring. Everyone knew the red rings. Have you been red ringed yet?
Which is horrendous when you think about it. If you go up to someone and say, "Have you been red ringed yet?" It kind of like
Just like
imagine
that.
saying that to someone. If you said that to someone and they didn't hear what you were talking about an Xbox, say you're on a bus, an old gentleman walked past, and your mate just went up to you and went, "So you've been red ringed yet?" And that's all you heard. But when I did the research into the red ring of death, I actually found out the main one was three. It wasn't a 4.
Yeah.
The 4 was actually because your AV cable was unplugged. So the most severe one, the most severe red ring, was just literally because your AV cable was unplugged. The 3 rings was obviously the one that was most synonymous. And believe it or not, I won't get politics into this, but the main issue is because of the EU. Because they banned leaded solder. They basically said you had to start making electronics with leadless solder. And leadless solder is known to be more brittle. And it can't hack thermal changes as well as leaded solder. And because the Xbox 360 was so quickly built, I won't say poorly built, but so quickly built to try and get ahead of the PS3, to try and get out early, to try and save weight, to try and save space within that little white box instead of going for the brick that they had with the Xbox. It kind of backfired massively. And it wasn't just Microsoft's problem, it was the EU's problem as well. But when you think of a company that's worth trillions, even back then was worth billions. They'd have the RMA to do it. And it was coming through the factory, and 70% of the consoles going through the factory in the first round were defective before they left the factory.
That is bad. That is so bad.
But they were so desperate to get them out a year before the PS3, because the PS2 came out a year before the Xbox. They were so set on the fact that year was the reason why the PS2 is the greatest selling console of all time. Obviously, we'll get being by the Switch.
Yeah. And I think we can all agree it wasn't the year earlier being the thing. It wasn't just, you was a year earlier. It was same as Microsoft did, like with this. I tried looking at the numbers of how much Microsoft sold in different regions. And you couldn't get any clear numbers, but basically what I saw is that in Asia they sold best part of nothing, like 1 million consoles, something like that, compared to like America where they sold like 40 million. So obviously a big part of the reason was they don't sell well in Asia. And then at that point, the Microsoft was also their first console, by which point PlayStation had already built brand reputation with the PS1. So of course people were going to choose PS.
But they've already made the reputation in Asia because they're an Asian company as well. The Japanese were always going to choose Sony. And I know that sounds like such a wild take, but when an American company, they're always going to choose Sony. But Microsoft was so in their ways that it was because the Xbox was too big, and because the Xbox came out a year after. So they were the two things they wanted to fix, and they couldn't fix them properly. They pulled out the power supply. And they made a brick the same size as the Xbox 360, essentially.
It was not far off it. Not far off it at all.
And then engineers tried to bring this up, and they tried to fix it. The engineers were basically going, look, Bill Gates, your Xbox 360 is trash. You need to try and fix this before it goes out to the public. Bill Gates, what did Bill Gates do? Did he listen? No. He went, lads, if you don't like it, let's go and put you on Zune. And if you're listening and you don't know what Zune is, there is a good reason you don't know what Zune is. I bet you know what an iPod is, but you don't know what a Zune is.
As a side thing, I like seeing things from the past of people going like, "Oh, the iPod's dead because Zune's coming out." I love seeing that kind of stuff where people now they're going like, "Oh, no, the iPod's not going to survive. Zune's coming out." I love seeing that kind of stuff.
But Zune was like, Microsoft tried to disrupt two markets at exactly the same time, and they failed at both. And at the end, Microsoft had to spend $1.15 billion on getting the consoles back, doing RMA, and fixing the issue that they could have rectified in the factory and then brought it out at the same time as the PS3. And you got to think that's just not. I mean, that does leave a sour taste in the mouth for people like the Xbox 360. I know the nostalgia. I know you're going to tell me that the Xbox 360 is like your baby, the console, it's console of all time.
It's all through rose tinted glasses. And I was a kid or a teenager, so me sending my console back to get a new one didn't bother me too much. I didn't lose much of it. I was kidding. But if I now had my PS5 with all the games I've played on that, and the money that I've spent with my own money, which is not cheap, the £500 whatever it cost me how many years ago, and 3 months after I've got it, the time I played it, I've lost all that, I would be pissed. And instantly I'd be like, no, I'm sending it back. I don't want it back. I'm buying an Xbox or whatever. Like, I can. So how realistically, the real thing is how 360 did so well with that issue is the thing.
But you got to praise Microsoft for that. Microsoft did the right thing.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
brings us to Sony, who didn't do the right thing. So at the start, Microsoft denied it. So I have a quote from Molly O'Donnell, who basically said it was only a very, very small number. Because it was happening days after the Xbox 360's release. Because people were playing a high intense gaming session on their console, turning it off, turning it back on, was warping the motherboard because of overheating, and then it was breaking away the die from the board. So that's why the towel didn't work. Do you know the towel trick?
the towel trick, yeah. Towel trick.
So the leadless solder was also happening for Sony as well. So the PlayStation 3 was also having the same issues. So we were getting the yellow light of death, and this actually happened to me.
Oh, no.
So it wasn't very good for cooling. The fat PS3 was not good for cooling. Exactly the same as the Xbox 360. And it was breaking away. The board was warping due to thermal stress, and it would come apart. The issue is Sony didn't handle it. Sony pretty much denied it ever happened. Sony just went, look, lads, this is a you problem, and you just need to go and buy another one. And they abandoned consumers 12 months after they bought the console. So they give them a 12 months warranty. It's like 12 months, so you're just like, lads, you're on your own. And then they offered to fix the console at a cost. Like the console that costs half the money handled it better than the console that sold twice the money.
It's also the fact that I didn't know this about Sony. I didn't have PS3. I had one friend who had PS3, and he did have this issue. And then when I read this, I was like, how did Sony outsell the 360 after that? How did Sony still have the brand recognition it did after telling customers, F off, it is a you thing?
The thing is with Sony never steered away. I think Sony have done it this time round, but Sony have never steered away from the thing that made them successful. They've always gone with the most innovation, but with the mainstream appeal. So the PS2 was pretty much the best-selling console of all time due to the fact it was also the cheapest DVD player on the market. Well, one of the cheapest DVD players. You probably could buy a buy a Grundig from Argos for about 150 quid. And then they did the same with the Blu-ray players. Sony invested in the Blu-ray disc along with a couple of other companies. So they were pretty much all my chips were on the Blu-ray player, and they worked with Hollywood studios to use that as the main optical media. So PlayStation pretty much outsold the Xbox 360 due to the fact of its reputation and the fact that it was a Blu-ray player in the midst of its gaming abilities too. And I think that's why Xbox went back and went, well, we've kind of messed up here. Let's back that burgundy, that burgundy covered HD DVD and see where it goes. And no one bought the extension.
No. Because then at that point, it's almost the same price as a PS3. And you're like, why am I buying this extra bit? Why am I buying this extra brick? That's not like the brick I've already got to
you basically got 3 bricks.
That it stays around.
You've got 3 bricks. You've got the power supply, you've got the console, and you've got the extension. And you're kind of like, this is what Sega did. Sega just decided, let's pile on loads of things to keep up with
That's the post you did say about you got the bricks, didn't you?
Yeah.
Saying that they tried shortcutting between generations and hoping, I can keep up now. And just effed it up.
Yeah, because it was weirdly worried about the Atari Jaguar, and it just makes no sense to me. You've got to talk about the good. They truly spoil us as gamers. Like,
as I still go back as a gaming generation, this is unbeaten. I don't think the because a lot of what we get nowadays realistically is a lot of sequels or remasters from that time, because the games at that time, the IP that was brought out at the time,
absolutely
was set the standard.
If you got a backwards compatible PS3, you had the largest library of games ever assembled. You had the PS1, the PS2, and the PS3. You can play any disc you wanted in your fingertips, and there's over 2,000 games, and there's a large portion of that 2,000 games on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. You remember now, and like we were talking before about Call of Duty, we had the best Call of Duty games on this generation than we we've ever seen.
But then is that because of course we're going to say that, because I was playing Modern Warfare 2. I preferred Halo 3 over Modern Warfare 2, but I was playing Modern Warfare 2 with my friends at a time when we had no life stresses. We were teenagers playing games in our bedroom. So I still say, that Modern Warfare and Black Ops, like the first 2 of each of them games, are the greatest Call of Duties there are.
Oh, yeah.
But is that because of the time we was playing them, or are they generally the best games?
I think they're the best games because they remastered Modern Warfare.
Yeah, they did, yeah. No, you did.
Like, you can't imagine a first-person shooter like Call of Duty ever being remastered. Like,
no.
They're games that you bring out every year, and I hope people buy skins.
Mm-hmm.
But we had...
Yeah.
Modern Warfare had some fantastic campaigns. Like, you've had...
Yeah.
The Ghillie Suit Chernobyl mission. In, was it 2 or 3? You had the one where they invaded and you're shooting around a burger joint. Yeah,
I didn't play a lot of Modern Warfare, if I'm being honest with you.
Well,
I just told you I played Halo 3. I was very good at Halo. I stuck to what I was good at. My friends beat me at Modern Warfare. I didn't want to play games I was losing at. I beat everyone else at Halo. So of course I stuck to Halo 3. Play what you're good at.
We had Elder Scrolls. We had GTA 4 and 5. What about the exclusives? I'll give you a moment. Xbox 360 exclusives.
Halo 3 defined online gaming to me. The thing with... So I can say other games, but Halo 3 for me is... I remember sitting in my living room because my internet was downstairs, so to get good connection, I had to Ethernet it. And me and my friend, we sat in my living room playing online for the first time. But yeah, so yeah, for me, Halo 3... Gears of War I played with a friend who got Xbox 360 first. I think that redefined third-person cover shooting. Also, Horizon redefined open-world racing.
So I enjoy Forza Horizon, as we both know. I've gone through all 5, and I am like eagerly waiting for 6 because, as we've also spoken, I'm also a fan of Initial D, and I think there's going to be some elements of Initial D type chasing in 6. I'm really looking forward to that. Gears of War, the only issue I had with Gears of War and Halo was because I was just constantly watching my mates play it as split screen, and I just kind of feel like it was just boring to watch.
Yeah.
And I know full well if I took, I think this would save me to the PS3 as well. I am very much a campaign player. The stories draw me in.
Oh no! Like now, like don't get me wrong. Nowadays, like as I am now, I don't play online. I couldn't tell you last time I played online. Like until about Forza Horizon, I played a lot on Xbox One online with friends. We played a lot of Forza Horizon online. I played, only Halo 3 online. But once I got to the PS4, like the reason I got to a PS4 was because 360 and Xbox One was that online gaming focus to me. That's how I saw it.
Yeah. And
PS4 had Uncharted and it had God of War. So, and then at that time in my life, that is what I was more interested in playing.
Oh, makes sense.
Because at that point, I only saw a real story game, I guess, on the 360 for me. Well, I was Oblivion, obviously Skyrim, and then it was Fable. Fable was probably they were the 2 games I put a lot of time in the story. And even then, they weren't like a narrative-driven story.
I love Fable. I think if we're ever going to find the middle ground between this discussion, I think Fable is just outstanding. I think the way it was able, at such an immature time in gaming, it was able to bring morals to dictate your story. And you...
in an actual somewhat, not game-changing way, but in a way that everything around you reacted to what you were doing. Whereas a lot of things would be like, kind of like, no, in Mass Effect, you have like Paragon and Renegade. Realistically, there's not loads. I know the different people you survive might different, but not loads really change in the world you're building. Whereas in Fable, especially if you look at Fable 3, I don't know how much you paid Fable. You could create 2 completely different cities based on the choices you made. And Fable 2, and even the original Fable, was how people react to you, like the kind of choices that you make. And I thought it was quite good in that, your choices are making a difference to the world, not just, you can feel like you are.
It felt like the least linear game in a time where games were linear, I think.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it,
yeah. Do you want to talk about Viva Pinata?
I've never played Viva Pinata, I'll be honest with you. It's a thing of, I know it's such an iconic game for 360 and it's come bundled in, but I've never actually played Viva Pinata. So then the other game I played a lot of was a game called Crackdown, which is like if you haven't, it's like a super soldier kind of thing. And that was just a lot of fun. They ruined it with 2 and 3. The first one was like you level up your super soldier kind of person. You could take down gangs, and you could have like you can like jump across cities and like you level up your stats. A lot of fun. Look into that's good fun. And then I had to bring up a game called Lips because when I was a teenager, when I was an adult in my adult life, we played a lot of karaoke. I've got a very sweet voice. If you ever want to listen to it one day, yeah. So we played a lot. We played a lot of karaoke, and that was like so I played a lot of SingStar growing up on PS2. And this was the best I could do. And Lips was, so you had 2 wireless microphones and had it was Lips. And then we eventually got Def Jam Rap Star as well. Two great. A lot of that played. And then I feel like I wouldn't be doing anyone justice if I didn't bring up that Xbox 360 tried with the JRPG. They realized to get into Asia, they're like, guys, we've got to do it. And they, not only did they get Final Fantasy to jump ship to Xbox, which is quite the thing to have done at that point. Bear in mind, up to that point, there was Sony first with the games they bring out, and then suddenly they got the 13. But there's a game called Lost Odyssey, which is there was 2. I think Lost Odyssey and Infinite Undiscovery. But again, I'm hoping that someday to get it on. I've got a Series S. So what was your PS3 exclusives that meant a lot to you?
So story games, I think they absolutely just went for it with the PS3.
Mm-hmm.
You can't not talk about the PS3 and talk about Last of Us. It's been remastered 6 times. It'll come out again. Some people will biting you.
Yeah.
There's a mission on there where you've got to find a key card, and that key card mission is infuriating to me. I mean, people might find it easy. You're gonna have someone going, "Oh, I found it easy. I found it."
Yeah.
That mission to me was just there's clickers everywhere. You've got to swim. It's just infuriating. Then you got to talk about Uncharted as well. Like Naughty Dog, proper. Yeah. You think about the PS1, and to me, the most iconic character on Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
And Naughty Dog kind of went for the same sort of approach with the PS3, even though they were told to go on a different approach with the storytelling. They still were able to make the 2 most iconic games and probably one of the most iconic characters in the PS3 generation. Like Nathan Drake. There's a movie about Nathan Drake. Like there's a movie around Lara Croft. It kind of works the same way. God of War 3 is obviously also it's a beautiful game. It's
I think if we can give a shout out how God of War, I was gonna say God of War 2 on the PS2 was magic.
And even though Gran Turismo fell off after 4, Gran Turismo games were still good. Like they were still decent. 5 and 6 were still good games.
There's still the standard for like sim racing. As much as the Xbox tried with Forza Motorsport didn't catch on. Forza Horizon caught the wind, and now they realised that Forza Motorsport couldn't touch Gran Turismo. No, so you still got to give it to Gran Turismo that they still kept up.
And they just kind of went on the storytelling. Like they wanted games that were single player in the PS3. Some got cancelled, and even now, 20 years on, I'm still not over the fact 8 Days got cancelled. 8 Days, to me, was a spiritual successor to Driver. And I've mentioned this so many times. I've mentioned it to you. Like, that game was going to be incredible. And they cancelled a few. Like, they cancelled a few games. But that game, to me, I'll never forgive Sony for that. Just to me, that game would have been brilliant. But who do you think had the better exclusives?
See, the problem is that you're still going by rose-tinted glasses. But I think there was 2 different journeys they took in that, because like I said, once I got to a later stage of my life and I was like, I actually want to play story games, I got a PS4 and the first games I played were Uncharted.
Yeah.
And I can easily say Uncharted, especially Uncharted 4 is one of the best games I've ever played. God of War, like I played the first 2 on PS2 and straight away, as soon as I got a PS4, it was getting Uncharted and then it was getting God of War 3 on the PS4 remaster. Because I need to finish that trilogy. But I can't look past the fact that Xbox 360, basically, if the 360 didn't have Halo, Gears of War, and Forza Horizon, they wouldn't be where they are. I don't think they would have done as well. I think Gears of War redefined cover shooting and kind of said that third-person shooting category. But then I can't say that too much because they done it differently to, say, Uncharted.
Yeah, I mean,
but Uncharted still...
Even if Halo didn't exist, you've still got Call of Duty with the like it did movements for the first-person shooter. Can see the fascination with Halo. I mean, I was never a Halo player. I've tried to play Halo 1. But even if you took Halo out of the equation, you still would have Call of Duty. You would still have Borderlands. You would still have those types of games to fall in the demographic. Whereas I can't picture a game on the Xbox 360 that told a story as well as The Last of Us or Uncharted.
Yeah, because to me, Uncharted is cinema. You're playing a cinematic game because you're playing these set pieces and you're playing the events as though you're watching a film. And then in between that point, you're doing the shooting or the puzzle parts of it. But then you'll get to the set pieces, the cinematic climaxes of each kind of act, you say, or each kind of like section. Then that's what I think makes it such a cool game to play and experience. So you're trying to push me towards saying the
I'm not pushing it. You're steering there yourself.
No, because it's difficult because I'm basically fighting my nostalgia kind of clouded goggles over how I feel today. And how I feel today, the single player narrative games are what I'm playing more of. So of course I would have to say the PS3 are better games. But what also gets difficult is because some of the games I played on the 360 were games like the Tomb Raider reboot, like I said, Oblivion, some games which are available on both, should we say. But I guess you could say that the PS3 had better longevity for its IPs, for its exclusives.
Yeah.
Especially because they keep remastering the same games, but you know.
Yeah, I mean that to me, even to me, that is so frustrating as a collector. I've got like 4 different versions of The Last of Us. And this is the problem with the generation. It's generation wide. It's not just the PlayStation. It's also something like Gears of War Reloaded, for example. So with you, I mean, there's games on the Xbox 360 I would have played. And I think if you look at me as a player back then, I think an Xbox 360 would have made more like a better decision.
Yeah, I think I can probably agree that PS3 are the better exclusives because I think what the 360 pushed forward wasn't necessarily the games, but it was like I think Xbox 360 pushed forward online gaming further than PS3 did. Even though you paid for it, Xbox Live.
Even though the PlayStation was free, I think we have to cover the fact that it was down for a fair while because someone hacked it. Like.
Yeah.
You get like the Xbox 360 was paid for, but the Xbox 360 was more reliable.
Yeah, the experience and the quality of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can agree that the PS3 are better exclusives just marginally. I'm happy to. I can accept that. As an older, more experienced man, not a 15-year-old teenage boy, I can understand that. The exclusives that I played, which was basically just Halo, realistically was just Halo. Like if you took Halo away from the exclusives, and if you took Last of Us away from PS3, I would still choose. If I'm going to play Last, I would still choose PS3 as better exclusives because Halo 3 wins it for me because of the nostalgia that's tied. That's what wins it. That's what keeps me to it. Even Gears of War, I still don't have the same attachment to Gears of War as I do the Halo 3.
I fully get the Halo thing, and I think PlayStation gamers are going to absolutely love Halo. The fact it's going to be it's probably going to end up being put on PS Plus. They're going to love it. But if you were to go back in time, the 15-year-old boy, and you went into game, or you went in Toys R Us, RIP, and you looked at both consoles side by side, would you stick or would you twist?
No, again, I still get the 360.
Okay.
Because of who I was at the time. Was I want to beat everyone at Halo. That is literally the reason I would get a 360 was I want to be the best at Halo 3. And I want to play Fable 2. Because I played Fable, I had the original Xbox, the Crystal Xbox. And so I played Fable. And I want to play Fable 2. And I say that, and even Gears of War game, I played Gears of War, but I wasn't, I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't quite as tight for me. But them 2 games probably win it for me.
Okay.
The reason why I'd pick it.
So I'm on the fence. I will be the gracious person to say I'm on the fence because of my gaming habits back then. I think an Xbox 360 would still have been just as viable as the PS3. The PS3 changed my gaming habits, the same as the Steam Deck has now.
Yeah.
I found my love for story-based games again because of the PS3, and I don't think I would be collecting and playing and enjoying games like Red Dead. I mean, Red Dead Redemption was out on this generation. I could have played that on either. But the cinema of games, I don't think I would have approached the cinema of games like I do now if I had got an Xbox 360. But I did spend a lot of my time playing FIFA. So either way, I would have been happy with the Xbox 360 or a PS3.
Yeah, I can agree there because I say if I didn't have Halo, I'm guessing I would have got more into Call of Duty. If I had a PS3, I would have just put more time into getting good at Call of Duty. But it's just because at the time I was gone from Halo to Halo 2 to Halo 3. And then I wasn't as good at Call of Duty, so I couldn't play it.
Yeah.
I had it. So, but like I said, that's why I said is that then once I got bored of the Xbox One, nice that all these great games that were on the PS4, which are some of which were PS3 re-releases, like I said with the Uncharted. I went first with PS5 because of the story games that were on there.
Yeah.
Because of the kind of lineage and the experience that they had built. But it's because of the PS3 that we have Spider-Man, why we have Horizon, and why we have Ghost of Tsushima, because they laid the foundation 20 years ago to bring those games out now.
I don't think I would have enjoyed those games as much if I hadn't got the PS3.
Yeah.
And the PS3 kind of like set that up for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're both going to choose the same way. But if you had to put these on the call board, where would they go?
Yeah. I as much as it pains me to say this, the PS3 is cooler than the Xbox 360.
I think they're as cool as each other. And
you guys are we're allowed to do that, are we?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like when you saw the guys, they had the cars and they put them on Sub-Zero. I think these two are in the Sub-Zero category. I think the step up from PS2 Xbox to Xbox 360 to PS3. We've never seen that. And they've also laid the foundations of every other console going forward. Like every other console now uses Blu-ray. Obviously go to digital now. The games that we had on the Xbox 360 and the PS3 we're just getting sequels or remasters.
Even if you go look at Xbox Live Arcade and set the kind of precedent for console-based digital gaming, should we say?
Yeah.
And like indie gaming, like it brought that forward into a viable thing for indie developers to be able to put games on consoles.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. They're both viable consoles now. Like people are doing stuff with these consoles now. As much as you see people on Instagram and TikTok playing the PS2 or the PS1, they're not playing them for hours like you see someone playing a PS3 or an Xbox 360.
Until the Oblivion remaster came out, you know when Oblivion remaster came out, Shadow dropped in March, April, May, wherever it was. At the start of this year, I was playing Oblivion on my Series S, the original. Because I can still play it. I can still play it with the nostalgia. So I know the graphics suck compared to what we used to. I know the gameplay isn't quite there anymore. Still enjoy the game.
Oh yeah,
because it's not too far away that you can't. Like I said, it's still, you can still see a 360 game or a PS3 game, but they're not as unplayable as them older generation games because it was such a huge step up from PS2 and Xbox 2 that generation. That, like I said, each kind of generation lost that little bit step up more and more. That it's still only 2 generations behind. You can still play it. And I say that we're playing them more now. And part of the reason why I got a Steam Deck is because I know there's a lot of that era of game that I know a Steam Deck will play.
Yeah, Wolfenstein. I was talking about Wolfenstein the other day, and the Wolfenstein is on Steam. You can buy Wolfenstein for like £3 now, and you can play Wolfenstein on your Steam Deck. Like, why would you not want to do that? Why would you not want to?
And then can you imagine going back 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and saying to yourself then, one day, that 360, that PS3, you'll take on the road with you, you'll be sitting in front of like everywhere else, and you can play whatever you want on this little thing, handheld thing.
Absolutely not.
You wouldn't believe it.
So is there anything else you want to cover before we go into the news?
See, I can't try to remember what I say. It's like, I still think the 360 was still the thing that pushed it forward just because of they brought it out at the right price. And I think the thing that made 360 more successful was actually because they priced it lower and PS3 priced it too much higher. And I think that's kind of what helped them a lot as well.
Do you think if they didn't have those issues of unreliability, they would have crossed that 3 million difference?
They got it done, ain't they, surely?
I think so,
because
absolutely.
It got too well known. Within that first year, it got too well known. Everything would Red Ring. Everyone knew that. Yeah. But I also don't know that if the next day, if they did bring out the year later and you looked at 360 and PS3 side by side and go, that's £150 cheaper, and I play the same games, why would I choose PS3? At the time when Blu-rays were still new, not really out, I wouldn't have chosen PS3 because it was more expensive. My family weren't in a position to buy me a PS3 because it was too expensive. So I still think they probably would have. I think in hindsight, it was always lovely. I think they probably would have, if they'd fixed that problem, they probably would have outsold PS3 if they bought it out at the same time, the year later, because they could do a direct comparison of why 360 almost £200 cheaper, but will play the same games.
If they hadn't have had the Red Ring, or the fact that if you put a slight breeze onto the DVD drive, it would scratch the games up.
Yeah.
then it would have hit that 3 million. I think it would have hit 90 million.
Mhm.
I think it would have passed the PS3 and it would have done really well. But the fact I had those issues, I mean, you've got to put Blu-ray in the equation. I think you've got to put Blu-ray.
Oh yeah, I think in the end the Blu-ray won it for PS3. I think there's no not only that, but I think as it caught on that was a future technology and that was where films were going, that's where future Xbox games are going. That was then another benefit to having a PS3 was, well, rather than I've now got the Blu-ray player as well. That was a huge, like I said, going back to the PS2, that was a big benefit of PS2 was that it was a DVD player. At a time when not everyone, people were just starting to get DVD players as a common thing.
Absolutely agree. So
Generation 7, best generation we've had. End of.
So shall we do the news? Okay, so I've got to cover it. The Steam machines are back. The Steam machines are back. As someone who wanted a Steam machine 10 years ago, and hold my hands up, I'm glad I didn't, because they were terrible. I've got the controller, I've got the Steam Link. It just wasn't a good fit for the time. The Steam machines are back. I'm excited for them. I think they're going to be great for gaming, and I think there's going to be some issues with some people. I think there's a couple of smooth brains who expect a 5090 for £500. And not
I saw this and thought, if it's priced right and it's not priced crazy wild, I said I've had a Steam Deck now for maybe a month, 3 weeks, or maybe a month. Having had that, if this is priced right, this would be the best part of a day one purchase.
Yeah, I agree.
The games I've been playing on the Steam Deck, like I said, this is the problem is when you see people online going, oh, it's only got 8 gig of VRAM, it's only got this normal RAM. And it's like, yeah, but you're people who have a £2,000 computer.
It's not for them.
You're not the market. This is for people like me who I've just got a Steam Deck.
And or PS5.
Suddenly this world of indie games that I haven't been able to experience because they're not available anywhere else has now opened up to me. I still connect my Steam. I dock my Steam Deck to my TV and play games on my TV with a Steam Deck. Now, it opens up more games available for me to do that at a price. I'm hoping that will be matched to a PS5, where I was trying to buy indie games on my Switch, and there's a game called Cassette Beast I've got, which I paid a quid for. And if I went out on the Switch, it cost me 20 quid.
Yeah,
so
it's like Steam is the most diverse library of games ever assembled, and nothing will ever beat it. Xbox can't come close. PlayStation will never come close. No. And all it takes is a percentage of console gamers to buy a Steam Deck and see the hundreds and thousands of games on Steam where they'll go, this is amazing. And that's who the console's for.
It's the variation. You're not then set to just the console releases, and because I myself was kind of didn't realize how much was released on Steam and the variation that was released on Steam and the price range that was released on Steam. You don't realize that how many games there are, and then you then have free reign of the choice of games. Like I've now found out that there's a game we started playing Stardew Valley the other month. I've now found a Stardew Valley-like game which has Pokemon essences in it. So you Stardew Valley, but you have spirits to fight for you. It's a game called Moonstone Island. So now I've got Stardew Valley X Pokemon. It was cost me 80p.
You know, I love Outrun. I would never have found a Horizon Chase Turbo if it wasn't for my Steam Deck, which is very similar to how Outrun is. Like it's a racing game. It's not just a single player on one track. You are racing, but it's still a isometric racer. I would never have found that about my Steam Deck.
Yeah, I think, like I said, people were expecting some. It's not gonna be a AAA player game. It's not made to play the most up to date AAA games. It will probably run them at the right settings.
But it's
not made for that.
They said this about the Steam Deck. So the Steam Deck, the engineers wanted 800p at 30 frames a second. And they achieved that. Like, I can play Assassin's Creed Shadows, not that I want to, but I can play Assassin's Creed Shadows on my Steam Deck, 800p, 30 frames a second. You will still be able to do that on the Steam machine, 4K, 60 frames a second with FSR. The PlayStation 5's upscales everything. So why is it not okay for the Steam machine to upscale everything? And I think it won't be £500. I think it'll be closer to between $650 and $800.
I think so. Yeah.
But the way the market's going with the Xbox Series X and the PS5 is that such a bad thing? Because you are.
No, that's right. Yeah.
This is the first generation. You're paying more 5 years into the generation than you would have done before. So why can't you be priced at that? And the controller looks mega, by the way. I'm not going to get into the controller, but the controller looks absolutely mega. Do you think you'll buy it? Do you think if you're in the situation, would you buy a Steam machine? Do you think you would?
Yeah. If the minute, because it's a case of I was looking at getting a new PC, and then I was looking at the kind of games I'm playing on my PC, or now on my Steam Deck, and I'm like, well, I'm mostly interested in those less powerful indie games, should we say? If that's what I'm buying a PC for, then I'm like, well, now this gets released, which is going to be more optimized for that. I will do that then. So assuming it's released at that price, like you said, if it's between 600 and 800, spring next year, it has to be around. And then I'll be there day dot.
See, I feel, even though I'm so excited about the Steam Deck, I can only recommend it to people who are tech savvy. I can't recommend it to people who have just had an Xbox or a PlayStation. As much as I want to, because they will do what they want it to do, but because they have to do so much to get to that point, I don't feel like I can recommend it to them. As much as I want to, there's still a barrier in place where I'm going. You can't play games that are affected by anti-cheat. You are still going to have to play with the settings yourself. Whereas you plug in an Xbox or a PlayStation and you're like, well, you're ready to go. I can't ask my mate to buy a Steam machine and then him message me and go, why isn't FIFA working? Or why isn't Call of Duty working? Why can't I find Fortnite on Steam? And that's like the only thing that's holding me back. As much as I want to tell everyone, go and buy the GameCube, as everyone keeps calling it. I can't do that. And I want to so badly. The way Linux is set up, I can't do it.
But I'm interested for a shake-up because PlayStation, especially Nintendo, they're running away with it. Xbox is falling behind massively, and I think this is just another thing to help keep them in check.
I agree. Competition is needed.
I think competition helps everyone, and have a way for everyone to be able to buy cheaper games that they weren't available to them before in different areas works for everyone, because then suddenly PlayStation has to look at it and go, well, if they have access to a Steam machine, they can buy a Steam game. They can then buy these games at these prices while they buy us from us. I think it just helps.
I would love to be in a room with someone who's only had an Xbox or a PlayStation all their lives, and they get to a Steam quarterly sale, and they look into the store on a quarterly sale. I just want to see their brains blow up. Like, I can buy this game for like £3. Yes, you can buy this game for £3 and you'll love it. And what's best?
And this is without me getting into digital first collections of you. So this is like me getting into thinking the digital superior. This works for me as well because I don't buy physical. So now I've had my Steam Deck now like a month. I've got 50 games on Steam already. I had some on there already. I've got like 40 or 50 games on there already just because they're cheap. Or like I buy a Humble Bundle. Oh, these are interesting to me. I jump back and I've got Half-Life. I said I got GTA 4. These games that were on my list, I was like, now I've finished Half-Life 2. I've never played Half-Life 2 before. Now I've finished it. I'll be able to play it on the way to and from work. Just sitting there playing Half-Life 2.
It's just that I don't think it's going to flop. A lot of people are saying it's going to flop. I don't think it's going to be a success.
Can't see it.
I don't think it's going to be a success.
The only way it flops is if they price it too high.
But I don't think
they outprice themselves, but I don't think they will.
I think it'll be £800. If it's any more than £800, it will be a problem. But I think it'll be £800 or less.
Yeah, looking at the price of what the Steam Deck is has been, and how they've kind of priced that the way that they know that they need to price at that point to get people into it. I mean, when you look at that compared to the ROG Ally stuff like that, and what you can do,
like £1,000 for the ROG Ally X.
Yeah.
I know it's more powerful, but it's still they're making money on the hardware, whereas Steam don't feel they have to do that as much as they want a margin on top.
Steam are trying to get you in the ecosystem because they like I said, I've been in the ecosystem. Like I've had a few games on my PC, but not loads. I've been in the ecosystem a month and I've already bought 40 games. 30, 40 games, whatever. And Gabe, so they know, like, look, once you're in, you're in. You'll understand why people stick with us.
And Gabe makes 30% of every game sold on Steam. Which pays for every single one of his fancy little yachts. So Battlefield 6 has had the best month of sales in the US of any game in the last 3 years. That's not a surprise. What a surprise is Call of Duty Black Ops 7 has come out in that same month.
And to bad reviews.
Where do you think that leaves Call of Duty? If Battlefield being able to pull it back the way they have, where do you think that leaves Call of Duty?
Which is what's interesting, because Black Ops 6 last year, everyone raved about.
I hated it. There's a zombie mission in the campaign, and when I looked on Reddit to see if you can skip it, there's loads of people on Reddit saying exactly the same thing, like, can we skip this mission? If I wanted to play zombies, I'd play zombies.
Yeah.
And
But my issue is I don't play a lot. Literally, the last Call of Duty I played properly was Modern Warfare 2 on their 360. I have not played any Call of Duty, but I know how successful they've been.
yeah,
So they must have the formula.
they had the formula, but I think they've kind of pandered to the fact that there's a lot of people playing Fortnite and Apex Legends, and I think they tried to focus on that market while leaving the people behind who moved from CS:GO to play Call of Duty.
Well, because wasn't that Battlefield 6 whole thing? That we're not going to be the skins, the capture, the loot boxes. We're going to be.
They went back to basics.
Your traditional FPS.
They went back to the traditional. You are a soldier in the front line. I've enjoyed Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5, but when Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 2042 to me was a terrible game. But Call of Duty was also declining around the same time, so they kind of met themselves in the middle around that year. Cold War had a really good campaign. Black Ops 6 had a terrible campaign. And then Black Ops 7 I've not bought because of Black Ops 6. But then I've seen screenshots of like the massive man blowing fire on you while you're trying to shoot him. It just reminds me of like, I know we've said good things about God of War, but it reminds me of God of War level.
Yeah.
But God of War
makes
levels,
sense in God of War.
It makes sense in God of War. It doesn't make sense
in
a Call of Duty game or a secret agent in a Call of Duty game. And I don't know where that really leaves Call of Duty, where I really do believe a Call of Duty need to go back to basics. And I think Xbox, from what I gather, I mean, I cancelled my Xbox subscription because I had a Legion Go, but I've installed Bazite on there now and I've got rid of Windows. They put the Call of Duty games on Game Pass, but they've also put the price of Game Pass up. And people have been cancelling Game Pass because of those price hikes. So where does that leave Call of Duty if Call of Duty was the main selling point? The main selling point of Game Pass.
Don't know.
We both don't know.
I don't know.
Finally, Xbox partner review. So PlayStation and Xbox do a couple of like streams every couple of times a year. They covered like games that will come out on their system. So PlayStation did one recently for the Japanese market. Xbox have done their partner review. The highlight for me, 007 First Light, looks absolutely fantastic. I mean,
are you a Bond fan?
This is where I was going to get to. So I didn't like GoldenEye. I didn't like GoldenEye for the fact that it rides on the coattails of nostalgia.
Ah, yes, of course.
Because if you speak to anyone about GoldenEye, it's always about multiplayer and the fact that someone could, you definitely got done by Oddjob. Yeah, probably. But it's the fact it's a first-person shooter and it's a very primitive first-person shooter. It just wasn't for me. The fact that the makers of Hitman have taken on First Light and they've rolled a bit and they've made it like a Hitman-esque game kind of sells it to me. And I really enjoyed Nightfire. And I know Nightfire was a first-person game, but I really enjoyed it. Nightfire was awesome. And I kind of feel like First Light might spark that interest back into the 007 franchise. Not just for me and not just people who enjoy Nightfire, but other people later on. People who didn't grow up with the movies, because I can't imagine the younger generation would really sit there and watch like Dr. No or Octopussy or Die Another Day. Even Die Another Day, I can't imagine an early 20s person would enjoy watching Die Another Day.
Yeah.
So it might spark some interest back into the 007 franchise.
I think I am someone who's not really I'm not a big Bond fan. I'm not in a way of, I'm nothing against it. I've just generally just never got into them. From what I've seen, compared to like what the 007 games that we've had in the last like 10, 15 years, it does look a lot more as to what I expect a 007 game to be.
Yeah.
Like I said, how well Hitman have done as like kind of stealth assassin, should we say, kind of role that it took on. And I think them passing it over to them and getting like, hey guys, you're kind of the front runners for this kind of genre we're trying to put this game into, was a smart choice. Yeah.
In terms of Hitman, Emma's coming as a target. Anyway, you want to talk about some other games you saw on Game Pass?
The one I'm most interested in is that it's actually come out of we played a demo for Marvel Cosmic Invasion when it was Steam Next Fest, and this is like an ode back to classic side scrollers. So we was playing this. So I was playing as Captain America and Wolverine, and it's co-op, so a couch co-op.
Okay.
And then Gemma was like, Storm and maybe someone else coming now. Storm or someone else. I don't. It's just I played the Spider-Man SNES game or Mega Drive game. I can't remember which one it was now. That was brutally hard. Done over constantly by that. Maybe it was Spider-Man on it as well. But yeah, it's just classic throwback to your Streets of Rage, your Ninja Turtles, with a bit of quality of life improvements. And I think as where Marvel is nowadays, everyone knows his characters now. Like
Okay.
if Streets of Rage, you're a Sega guy.
I
You know
love Streets of Rage.
You know Streets of Rage 2.
I love Streets of Rage. Yeah.
Take Streets of Rage 2 and just put Captain America onto that. That's Marvel Cosmic Invasion. And it comes onto Game Pass on the 1st of December. So I'm looking forward to that. That would be like a nice little I'll probably play it over Christmas, like a little easygoing game. Okay, that's the game I'm looking out for over that time.
So anything else you want to add to the pod?
No, I think we've spoke for long enough now.
Yeah.
We've gone like half an hour over longer than we said we would do, which I mean was expected. I mean, it wasn't unexpected.
No.
It's pretty much. I mean, the fact we've not gone 2 hours, I think, is a real success here.
Yeah, I mean, I could have added so much information on this, and it could have been 6 hours long. When I said to you 40 to 60, you were like, no wait.
Yeah.
Do you want to close it off?
Let's maybe not leave it a year till the next one, but I think there's a lot more we can talk about. We're just trying to keep it. This is us keeping it succinct.
Yeah, we'll work our best to try and get more out.
We'll see you in the next one.